His family grew up here. His grandchildren grew up here. It's just so fitting, and what a tremendous thing to do. And it's a great tribute to Jonathan and Rachel. Everyone uses them as examples of kind of products of the J, that they met at the J. Jonathan met his business partners at the J. And we think that's a unique story. But I think as a testament to JCCs, I think that in every JCC, there are, across the country, there are couples like Jonathan and Rachel who met there, who found a common bond there, and started their life together at JCC. Well, no, they're very specialist, but I think there's every J has a Jonathan and Rachel. And I'll just have to say that we're very lucky that our JCC has that. Again, this is a tremendous day for the community and for the JCC as we move on to the next step, as we start the next phase of our life here in this incredible building. And I'm sure there'll be some information about that today. Now I'd like to welcome Jay Jacobs, CEO of the JCC.
Every now and then, there's an event that can be defined by one word. Tonight, to me, that word is extraordinary. When you look at Martin Pear's name up there on the screen, I had the opportunity when I came to town to spend a little bit of time with Marty, but I had heard of Marty throughout my career. And the word to me that describes Marty is extraordinary. It is also extraordinary to have a former CEO's name on the JCC. I believe we're the first in the country, and I think that is extraordinary. It also takes extraordinary people to do extraordinary things. Rachel and Jonathan, we cannot thank you enough. Words can't express our appreciation, but I'll simply say thank you. And now Gary Weiss, our JCC board chair for another 11 days.
When I returned from the JCC biennial in May 2018, I wanted our board to take on the task of raising capital to improve our JCC. It's hard to believe that this building's 17 years old. And in order to stay relevant, we as a J need to continue to invest in people, programs, and facilities, all three legs of the stool. This More J on the Way campaign is going to give us the capacity to continue to increase our membership and expand our programming. Today we stand here, we've never been stronger as a JCC. Membership is closing in on 2,300 units, that's up from 1,500 a few years ago. We have a 7-figure reserve account. We appear to have the right staff. As Jay likes to say, we have the right people on the bus sitting in the right seats. This campaign is truly an invest in us campaign. This is not a call to bail us out or to rescue us. When money was being raised for this J in 1999, I was brand new to the board. We were a J without walls. Preschool was at Temple High. Our basketball league was run out of Shadow Mountain High School. And our summer camp was at Shea Middle School, headed by our current COO. I was 31 years old, and I told Lanny Lar that I was going to pledge $10,000 to the capital campaign. He said I could pay it over 5 years, and that was a stretch for me at the time. But I wanted to make a statement. I wanted my peers to step up, and it was a significant gift to me. And we stand here 20 years later, and my wife Debbie and I have 1 kid off the payroll, 2 in college, and 2 to go. And we're pledging $100,000 to this campaign for the same reasons. We're trying to make a statement. We want our peers to step up, and it's a significant gift to us. Rachel and Jonathan took my message to another level. When I first told Jonathan about this idea for this campaign, he obviously wanted to be involved, but I assured him, and I still maintain, that I will do the heavy lifting. He has raised a lot of money for a lot of causes over the past several years on this campus. And when Jay and I met with Jonathan and Rachel, we brought up the idea of naming the agency, and brought up a number that I'm now told was more than 5 times what they had in mind. They didn't throw anything at us, but they contemplated it thoughtfully over the next couple of weeks, and after some good back and forth, we worked out something very special. Naming the J after Martin Pear is the menschiest thing imaginable. To honor Rachel's father, who gave his life's work to the JCC movement, is simply beautiful. I want to thank all of you, those who have already committed. We've now raised over $3.5 million of our $10 million goal. We have a match out on our next $2 million, and we're well on our way. We're excited for more J on the way. We look forward to many of you being involved with the gift that is significant to you. Rachel and Jonathan, I cannot thank you enough for your generosity and your leadership. I'd like us all to raise a glass as we toast the lead gift to the More J on the Way capital campaign. It's my pleasure to introduce Rachel and Jonathan Hoffer. Hi.
For those of you that were, a couple people in the room were at the SMS holiday party last night and used the same line. I'm neither good at public speaking or memorizing, so excuse my notes here. We want to, on behalf of Rachel, we want to really genuinely thank Gary, Jay, thank you Bob for seeing this. Thank you for your vision and your leadership, and we're excited for the next 2 years under Adam's leadership as well. Thank you to Andrea, Pam, and all the staff that put this together. The room looks amazing. As many of you know, there's a lot of work that goes into events like this, and we can't thank all the staff enough. The impact of the JCC is evident from everything good in my life, as Gary touched on. Rachel, SMS Financial, most of my dear friends are connected to the old JCC or this facility. Many of you are here today. Ben, JDH, or as Gary calls them, the original JDH. We have families that go back 35 years ago when I was keeping score at the old JCC. The Bendatis, the Loftons, the Goldens, who get some responsibility and credit or deal with us for setting us up. We want to welcome all of you, thank all of you for being here. You guys are near and dear to us in the JCC movement. Thank you. I also want to single out for a quick second Mark Scar, who is back over here, who is Mr. S is mortified I'm talking about him, but you're going to have to bear with me for a quick second. Without your mentorship, your inspiration, your friendship, and leading by example, we wouldn't be here today. So thank you. We are here today to honor Marty, and Rachel will speak about that in a second. But I want to conclude by thanking the Pear family. You guys are an amazing group of people. I'm honored to call you family. Marty lives on in you guys every day. And the best example I could give was from a couple days ago when Ian schlepped literally a suitcase full of rugula from Jerusalem, marzipan I assume, to serve tonight. He brought it from Israel to serve tonight. And that is so Marty. That is something Marty would have done. And that was a classic way to honor him. The world was better off with him in it, and we're all honored to carry on his legacy. So thank you all again for being here.
When we first started talking about today, we just thought maybe we'd have 10 to 15 people, but as we knew Ian came in with a couple of his children, we brought it up to 20, and we're absolutely amazed that we have far more than that, people that have been in our lives literally when we moved here in '88. And to also call out, I believe Scott Golden, another Golden here, was actually the president when my father was here, as well as a number of board members, as I look at this table over here, that have seen us grow up and have been a part of our life and a very important part in my parents' life as well. I first want to say thank you to Jonathan. My father and Jonathan had a special relationship before I was even a thought in his mind. He worked for my dad as the program director and then camp director, and it was my mom and dad. I remember my senior year in high school when I was getting ready to go to prom, and my mom said to me, "What about that Jonathan Hoffer from the J?" And I was like, "Really?" First of all, he was in college. I had no interest, as I'm sure he had very little interest in me as well. But they put that thought in my mind, and soon after my senior year in high school, I started working at the JCC, and that's when Jonathan and I started dating. Jonathan very soon became a member of the family, and I had a few people ask me when I first had told them that we were going to call the J after my father, and he asked how Jonathan felt. And really, he really didn't skip a beat. In fact, I'm not sure whether I came up with the idea, or Jonathan came up with the idea, or we did it together. But we saw my father as someone that really just represents everything that the JCC and that the community means. So thank you. I also want to thank not only the staff that are here today and have put this unbelievable dedication together, but really Jewish communal workers throughout the world. They tirelessly work to really put together the common mission for all of us, of inclusivity, of community, of continuity, of Jewish peoplehood, and they do that on a daily basis and very often make us look good. So thank you to all of them that do this every single day. In the past week, we've been absolutely overwhelmed by the heartwarming remarks on Facebook, on Ian's page, after he posted the article of my father. And people have just reached out across the globe to share with us how they believe that there is no one like my father, and this represents him, and we couldn't have picked a better person. And we absolutely happen to agree with that and just are so honored. When I first started to write this down, I was concerned that I wasn't going to be able to rightfully portray our dad. He is truly my hero, as I know that he is my sibling's hero as well, and he embodies everything good in this world. It's an impossible task to really do him justice, but I will do my best. My dad loved working for the Jewish community. In fact, he didn't really see it as a job, he saw it as a mission. Whenever he spoke about the JCC, he spoke about community and about people. He welcomed everyone in and always greeted everyone, whether he knew you or not, with a warm smile. Recently, I was watching something of my brother Ian speaking, and he talked about my dad being at the J, and how sometimes there might be someone loitering outside, and typically what you might do is you might ask them to leave. My father instead didn't ask them to leave. He welcomed them in. He welcomed them in with a meal, with a conversation, and that time, they were the only people that he was thinking about. And he was the true definition of a mensch. He had a great smile, an amazing heart, generous beyond compare, the kindest man I've ever known, smart, loyal, an unbelievable friend, and he always carried himself with the utmost integrity. He valued community and friendship, which is apparent with all of you being here, and he did it with an optimism, a smile on his face always. This was who he was, and my mom allowed him to be this exponentially. Just a few days before my father passed away, he spoke of my mom being the glue in the family, that she kept us all together, and she empowered him to be more and to do more. And so we thank you for that. It's the Martin Pear JCC, but truly, it's for both of you. While everyone knew him as Marty, and this was a conversation that Harry and Jonathan and I had when we first decided this, and he couldn't understand why we weren't calling it the Martin Pear JCC. He cherished his given name, Martin Kenneth Pear, as it was honoring those that came before him, and a way for him to carry on their legacy. And we're honored we are able to continue on his legacy. Jonathan spoke about my dad being at the J until all hours of the night, which is true. And he was able to do this because we were often there with him. He always brought us in. Tuesdays and Thursdays, he'd leave early for Sarah and my tennis matches. He didn't miss any of them. He did this for all of my siblings, and when our children were born, we're at every. There was not a separation of work and family. They were all one. The J was our second